In the Brewing Student Cultures podcast, we will cover topics of student life
from both international and Dutch perspective. A podcast by international students' work.
Hi everyone, welcome to the International Students Work podcast, Brewing Student Cultures. I'm Melissa.
I'm Isabella.
And today we're going to talk about working in the Netherlands.
Yes, we have very special guests today, Demi and Danna. They used to be colleagues, and they're here to show their perspectives, share some ideas. So welcome.
Thank you.
Everything good?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Feeling amazing because I just finished my exams today.
Yay! Exam season. We're all celebrating here. Yes. So girls, tell a little bit about yourselves.
Okay, I will start. My name is Demi. I'm 23 years old and I'm half Dutch, half Greek. But today I will be here to talk about like the Dutch perspective on working in the Netherlands and how it is to work with internationals.
And I'm Danna. I'm from Indonesia. I'm 25 years old and I moved to the Netherlands last year to study in the Netherlands. And today I'm bringing the international perspective when it comes to working at the Dutch companies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. We're really
Thanks
happy
for
to have
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
So, should we start talking a little bit about your experience here? Your first job, maybe in the Netherlands, the challenges you faced. How was it? How difficult it was?
I think that's more for me. My first job here was actually as a waitress. Before that, I've never been a waitress, so
No experience.
no experience at all. And it's a completely different culture. And it was my first time in the Netherlands. And it was my first time living in Europe. So I got the job at an Indonesian restaurant. It was actually very easy. I just saw them online and I just sent them a message. And we have the interview and he liked that I'm Indonesian, working at Indonesian restaurants. So that was my first job here, but it only lasted for 3 months. I really like it though, because I think back home in Indonesia, I would never become a waitress or thought about having a part-time job as a waitress. But it's actually a really nice experience. I'm glad that I was able to work here as a waitress. And I do have challenges when it comes to taking orders, because I didn't know that here you have to proactively go to the tables and ask if they want something.
Wait, what?
Really?
What do you...
Yeah.
What?
Because in Indonesia, you need to raise your hand to call the waiter.
Okay, no, in Brazil that happens too.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, I also worked as a waitress, but we don't like it if you raise your hand. I mean, it's kind of...
You don't like
Yeah,
it?
no. I actually, if someone would raise his or her hands, I don't know. I would like take my time and go slowly to the table. I mean, you can wave a bit, but yeah, normally you as a waiter or waitress have to see it like you have to be before that, like just to go to the table.
I didn't know about it.
Neither.
I mean, I think it was, okay, so my very first job was being a tutor, but I think I was 16 or something when I started to work as a waitress. I worked there for 5 years or something. I did it next to my high school and then next to my studies. I really like doing it. I think it's also good to, I don't know, have that experience to work as a waitress and I think it's also quite common to do that in the Netherlands, to work in a restaurant or a bar as a part-time job.
Yeah, mainly students. That happens a lot.
Yeah. So I actually didn't know what I don't know. And
I can imagine that.
so I was just waiting. Why isn't anyone calling me? I thought, and until somebody raised their hand, and I'm like, okay, I will go there with a happy face and like, what would you like to order?
Me being useful, yeah.
But in the end, I thought, okay, apparently it's a culture here to not, It's a totally different culture when it comes to restaurant dining in and
Interesting.
So that was exciting. Then it was interesting to learn that. And what what I'm surprised about is also how you can talk to your boss like a friend.
Oh, definitely.
That's so true.
Yeah,
That's so true.
yeah. So
Yeah, I'm kind of used to that, but I can imagine that it's
Yeah.
different. Yeah, yeah. It's super. Like, okay, I mean, it depends on the company and the business culture, of course. But in general, I would say that it's kind of informal. And I mean, you also have the drinks on Friday, and you can just go to your boss and ask a question or something like that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of informal. would
I
say.
actually really like it.
Yeah, same.
You don't have that back home. You have to, yes sir. You have to say like
Oh,
very
yeah.
politely.
Ooh.
We don't call them by names.
Mm.
No, that's something very different
Yeah,
as
and
well.
the Japanese culture as well. Like there is a very big difference between the boss and the
Employee?
Yeah, employees.
Ah.
Yeah, it's very like you have to be very respectful. Don't call them by their name, only last name.
Mm.
And there's a thing like if your boss isn't home, didn't go home yet, then you shouldn't go home either. You should wait.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so weird. Very
Yeah.
strict.
That's also I think the same with Indonesian
Yeah.
culture. Yeah. Yeah, we have to be very respectful to our seniors. Like
Yeah.
the seniority.
I think in general it depends on the business culture. I mean, for sure you also have like bigger companies in the Netherlands with this kind of culture, but in general, no, I think we are more informal. Yeah, I like that. I prefer that actually.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too. Imagine waiting to go
Yeah.
home.
Oh,
No, I would never.
The feedback culture too, like the culture of like getting to say those things to your boss. You know, like like our boss
mhm.
asked like, do you have any feedback to give us? Like in the Bila, you know.
Mhm.
And then it was like of course I knew at the time, but if that was like right when I arrived in the Netherlands, I would go like how could I dare to tell you what
Yeah.
I feel about this company,
Oh.
you know, like you're my boss. But it felt so easy, you know,
Mhm.
because of how approachable everyone is.
Mhm.
So I felt like I felt like it was really nice.
Yeah, I feel like that's also something I really appreciate from the Dutch working culture. How open and approachable people are and your opinions matter.
Yeah.
At least where I used to work.
But even for me, I had to, I don't know, I was surprised with that because I know that we are like kind of direct and we are open for different perspectives. But I don't know, I was surprised because I thought that it was also a matter of age. So when I was doing like a consultancy project or something like that, and then I was sitting around the table with the CEO, and I know I was a second year student, I think, and I was like, okay, I'm here to listen and observe. But then they asked my opinion. I was like, whoa, am I allowed to give my opinion? I'm only the second year student. So I thought it was like maybe depending on the age, but it's not. They are
It's
so
not.
open and like they're keen on knowing what your opinion is and what you want to
Mhm.
change or do differently. So yeah, I love that. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And about the challenges, I was just worried because your first job here was really related to your culture, and well, you were Dutch, so it was easier for you. Do you think that language it's a huge problem when finding work? Because in the
Mhm.
Netherlands, I think that's the main problem.
Mhm.
When you don't speak Dutch, your job opportunities there, quite not a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, how is that on your perspective?
Well, for me, because I know that I was applying to an Indonesian restaurant,
Mhm.
and actually they don't require me to speak Dutch. So I mean, I could just tell the customers that I don't speak Dutch, that I'm Indonesian, and actually they are happy that they are in the Indonesian restaurant with an Indonesian waiters.
They feel so special.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
an
they feel so.
experience.
Yeah, you can like switch it around,
Mm.
make it even, embrace
Teach
your
them some,
culture. Yeah, and I
Indonesian
actually, literally, we have a big map in our restaurant, and I wish. If I have the time, I tell them like, oh, this is where I come from. I point it out on the map. And do you know orangutan? That's where you can find them in Indonesia. It's in my hometown. And they're like, oh. And like, Yeah, but with the language, I feel like the customers, at least, they're quite open. Maybe because they're in the Indonesian restaurant.
Yeah.
Also, my boss don't mind, even though his English is not as good. But it was like a dishwashing job and waitressing, so it's not really a big deal, I feel. And there are shortage as well in the Netherlands. So in terms of the market, the labor market, so I think they would just accept anything at this point because they need people to work.
Yeah, but I do think there is a different, like if you look at the Netherlands geographically, so I'm from Utrecht originally, I grew up there, and I feel like there are way more international students or expats like working in restaurants than, for example, here, because I don't know, just like there is a bigger international culture there maybe, or people are like better in speaking English, and here there are like in Nijmegen or Arnhem or something, you sometimes notice that restaurants do prefer like someone who speaks Dutch, or at least that's also what we see, for example, when we work for international students work, and like international students are coming here like asking for a job because they cannot find a job due to the language problem.
Yeah.
So I think I helped, like it was an Indonesian restaurant and you were from Indonesia, so then it has this charm thing that is like, customers like that, or guests. But I do notice that in Amsterdam or in Utrecht, it's like totally different. There are way more international or like English speaking people working there. Especially in Amsterdam. Sometimes coming there like in a restaurant and no one is able to speak Dutch. It's just like all internationals. Wow. I like that, but it's a difference.
I was gonna ask you, like, do you mind, or how do you feel about working with internationals?
I love that. But personally, I love that because you can. I mean, of course, this is like a generalization and it depends on the people you're working with. But in general, I would say that international students or like internationals do bring like different perspectives into the company, or they are most of the time super like highly motivated or enthusiastic because, well, maybe it's more difficult to get a job. So then if they have a job, they are like,
it's a huge thing.
So excited to start working and like help. And they like the informal business culture, so that's also like an eye-opener. So I love to work with internationals, and I don't mind if I'm in a restaurant or something and I have to speak English, but that's like, I think it works like for me as a person, it doesn't matter. But I love to work with internationals.
I think a lot of like, if we're thinking about age, maybe like I think older Dutch people would prefer if the person serving them like could speak their language. I think, but I'm not sure. It's just what I've seen sometimes, like when I'm like speaking to someone that is in a shop and everything. Like if the person is older, I feel like they appreciate more if I make an effort to try and speak Dutch. Not like I can speak Dutch, but like I say like
try,
like thank you or stuff like that.
I think international students need to be aware that some jobs actually don't require work permit, but most of the jobs require work permit.
Yeah, I think most of them do.
And companies, it's free for companies to apply for the students' work permit.
Yeah, the problem with that is it's taken a while. And if people don't know about it, that's the first issue.
Yeah, it takes 5 weeks to get it. So it does take a while, especially if the company or the restaurant or any if they're looking for someone
right now, right
there, and it's gonna be a bit.
They just want to rush it and get you to work.
I think that's also something that could like make it more difficult for non-EU students to get like a job, because if they have to go through all the work to get you a work permit, like just going the extra mile for someone that could like have an equivalent as for someone that already has like all the requirements. I think sometimes people can choose that just because it's simpler. which kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Maybe it's also what they have in mind. Like they think it's like a lot of more work.
yeah.
I think it's not that much more work. I mean, of course, you have to do something like this, and maybe. But sometimes, I mean, if I work at I have another job, and I just want to transfer. Sometimes there's also this month in between, and they have to wait. So, especially now, there's such a shortage on employees that I don't think they really have like a big say in this, and they just have to be happy if someone wants to work at the company
They
because
can't afford to.
yeah, no,
pick and
right?
choose,
Yeah, yeah.
And about like juggling between your work and your social life and studying, like how does that go like for you? Because I know like I'm not struggling yet, but exam season, you know, it's very chaotic. I feel all over the place. But I do hope it gets better. Like I don't know. What are your perspectives?
Well, for me, because I'm right now working 16 hours at ISW and I study full-time masters. But thankfully, my master's program, our schedule is very nice, I would have to say. Like, we only have 3 days of classes
really nice.
in
Wow.
1 week.
Oh my
So
God.
I have
What
long
university,
weekend.
by the way?
Sorry?
What university? Sorry.
University of Groningen.
Okay.
So I'm studying sustainable entrepreneurship at University of Groningen, and the workload it's a lot, but I feel like having a job on the side makes me even more productive
Oh wow.
because I tend to procrastinate. But if I have a job or I have other things I have to do,
You can't.
when I want to procrastinate, I will think like, okay, I don't have time to procrastinate because I have another responsibilities, and that kind of boosts my productivity weirdly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my friends, my classmates, they're wondering how I'm able to work in Nijmegen, which is 2.5 hours from the university.
We're all wondering.
How I'm able to work 16 hours and at the same time study that program. So I really like it, having something on the side, because I think I'm just I maybe it's also because of me. I like to keep myself busy, but
I have the same. I've always worked next to my studies. So I did my studies like full time, and then I worked around 16 hours a week. And I don't know, you become more efficient or something. So, I mean, for your study, there's always something you can do, especially at university. There are like a lot of articles you can read, or like you can prepare yourself like in so many different ways. But when you have different other responsibilities next to it, you just become super efficient in managing your time. So you're like, okay, these are the priorities and this is what I have to do for my studies, but I also have my responsibilities in my work. And then next to that, it's also nice to just do something differently, especially if you do something study related. You can just like study, but also put what you learn like into practice. And I don't know, I like to have this variety of things to do and a bit of diversity, I would say. Yeah, I
agree.
it.
I agree, especially when you work on something that is related to your study. That's super helpful. You can just apply and implement it.
Yeah.
And okay, we got it. Everything very busy, no time for nothing. What about social life? Do we still have social life?
Oh yeah, we love social life.
We live for social life.
No, we're interviewing 2 hermits today. No social life, just responsibility. Work is fun.
I still have social life. I have friends.
And you can also make friends at work or like at university. So I mean, we got to know each other via work, but we became friends, and then your work becomes much nicer, and you have fun like after work, or you can just. That's kind of good to combine.
Especially the time we had with Carol and Mauricio.
Yeah.
Every time we're working or in the meeting, I feel like we're hanging out.
Yeah, it's just this like big group of friends. Like I don't know, we were just working, but also being friends, and it was nice.
Look at us combining social and work.
Oh my God, we can do that. It's doable.
But it's you do need to organize your time a little bit when it comes to social life. I have to sacrifice, like I have to choose. I think you have to choose who I want to hang out with, because I mean we can have a lot of friends, but we don't have time for that. Something has to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
And
I feel like it's a matter of priorities. So I prefer to, I don't know, earn some money and study and have like a social life, but I prefer to earn the money like more than, for example, do not work and have like a super big social life. I kind of like to do all these different things, and that's just I would say it differs per person.
It's a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice.
It is.
But I love to combine the three things.
Yeah, but at the end, I think everything just blend in.
Yeah.
Social,
Yeah.
work, study.
Yeah.
Because, small city, so everything gets back together.
Yeah.
But I do think it also, like, the job matters, right? Like, if you're doing something that you like with people you like, then you I don't know, I don't think it feels too much of a chore. It feels like something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I agree.
I think it's also, like, perspective. You know, because, like, you two seem like very, like, happy, like, nice people. You know, because I feel like if you see everything as a bad thing, you know, like, oh, I have to go to work.
The attitude.
Yeah, it's all about the attitude. Exactly. So, I would say that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and if you like your work, then you're happy to go there and do it. And I think that's one of the most important things. Doesn't matter where you work, like in which country, but it's just important that you like your work and doing what you do. Yeah.
I really enjoyed my work as a dishwasher back then. I got to like efficiently wash all the dishes. I see it like that.
You will always like your job. I see that. You're the first person I hear that like says, "Oh, I really like dishwashing. I got to experience."
Okay, maybe not too long, but
for that period of time.
Yeah, it was like a new experience. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, a dishwasher is not really common in Indonesia,
No?
so it was my first time. Okay, yeah. I was not really familiar with dishwashing. I thought we're gonna have to wash the dishes like with our hands, and then no, you're gonna use the dishwasher. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice.
So actually zero experience.
Yeah, zero experience. He needed to tell me how to put things and like which one to. Yes,
like,
so
learn by doing it.
Like just learn. Yeah.
But that's something I've noticed like through the years when I talk with international friends, that in the Netherlands I would say it's kind of common to have a job next to your studies, or at least like when you're young you start working because it's nice to know what it's like to work for a boss or gain some experience. But when I talk with like international friends, it's not that common in some countries, and people start working after their studies and they go for like a study related job right away.
That's true.
Well, here, I mean, if you're young, one of your first jobs is probably like working at the supermarket or being a dishwasher or something like that. It all depends on what kind of job you have to do, and I mean it doesn't it can't be that like heavy work or something because you're still young. And then if we take a restaurant, like you start as a dishwasher and then you can become, I don't know, a waitress. And when you're, I don't know, 18 years or older, then you can also work behind the bar. So yeah, it's kind of common here to work, and it's not that common in some countries. Yeah.
And I think people are also open to new things. Like as Danna, like no experience at all, but of course I'm doing it. Why not? So I saw a lot of people like no experience. I never had done this before, but now I'm here and I'm learning, and I'm super happy with what I'm doing. So I think that's a really nice thing that we share in common, like students working and facing all this life change. So that's really nice here. Really nice.
I like that about actually like having to, because what you said, like you were kind of forced to learn to manage your time, to get all this time for social life, work life, and then academic, right? And I think like in my country, in Brazil, I don't see that as very common. I think most people just study, and then when it's time to get an internship, then you do it, and then you start working with something like work related, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really skeptical. Like,
Yeah, it's
now
like
it's
a one
time to
thing
study,
at a
now
time.
it's time to work.
But I feel like this really helps, like with time management and also like establishing priorities, like
Yeah.
you said. You know, I really liked it, and even if you're forced to do it, it's still, I don't know. I think it's a growth mindset. You know,
Yeah.
to keep yourself.
And also, and this may sound weird, but like spending money, for example, if you have to work for like money, then you are also more careful with what you spend,
Yes.
and I think that is really important to get that balance. And yeah, that's sometimes if you start working when you are older, and I don't know, you always like parents, for example, who give you the money or something, you do not have this
True.
mindset or way of thinking. So that's also something that comes along with this.
Yeah, you learn to appreciate money.
Or like
Yeah,
at
the
least
real
you
value.
know what money is and what the value is and
Of
how
each
you can spend.
euro you're
Yeah.
gonna spend.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
And as international students, I think we face that a lot. Like, I don't know, I am always on a budget. So like,
Yeah.
preparing making sure that I'm not gonna spend all of my month's earnings like in like a cake or whatever. Like I think
Coffee.
it's yeah. Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. It is something that it's helpful to learn early on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but I think like when you get a job here, you learn a lot, but you also you have so many things that you just start realizing how important they are, like the money, the relationships, social life.
Mhm.
But at the same time, all the realizations you have inside your work, inside your own life, you know, like now I'm able to pay my own rent.
Yeah.
Like,
The independence.
My God.
Yeah.
Being an independent
Yeah.
student.
Strong independence.
Strong independent woman.
Girl boss. Yeah. So like having your job here while studying, while dealing with life, you just realize how strong you are, how much you can actually do.
Mhm.
So it's really satisfying knowing that you can achieve those things. Some goals that I never really they weren't goals, but now that I achieved them, they were like, oh yeah, that's a super goal that I just checked on my list. You
Yeah.
know?
Nice.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, it's the realizations that we have.
true.
It's really nice how we understand them and through all the process from searching a job to getting a job to getting promoted. It's huge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
For me, what I like about working abroad, especially now that I moved here last year, I feel like working helps me understand Dutch culture more, way more than not working. Because if I didn't work, I wouldn't be able to get in touch with Dutch people as much as now, I think. I wouldn't have
True.
as many Dutch friends as I have right now, and I just could understand how they are, like their culture, and like how efficiency is key.
Undenied it.
Yeah. How direct, and you can't take away these qualities
Yeah.
with you in whatever you're gonna do after your study.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like
I
that.
think it's a good way of integrating into a culture.
Exactly.
Like in this, I mean, the Dutch culture, but also if you're in a different country, it's really good to get the ins and outs and like understand how people think and why it is that they do it in such a way or
True.
what their motives are. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, working culture also like says a lot about the country,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I really like short hours. Like the day starts relatively late for Brazilian standards and ends very early as well.
Oh.
And like
What are the hours?
not in a bad way. Like I really like it. I feel like the time that we do spend in the office, like the people who do spend working, is like efficient. You know.
Yeah.
because Brazilian hours, like you start really, really early in the morning and then end like 9,
Yeah.
depending on where
Yeah.
you work, you know. And I don't know. Here I see like we work at a co-working space, and it's like there's so many people that they're coming in and out. Of course, people have different times that they feel more productive. But I do feel like looking when I go to the city center and I see things closing at like 6 p.m. and I'm like, how do you earn money? And it's like, it's also because like
Quality over
yeah,
quantity.
exactly,
That's
exactly.
the
And I think
thing.
it has become not only like a work thing for me. I think I see it as a cultural thing. You know,
Yeah.
like when
I feel like the work-life balance is very strong here, like
Yeah.
for the Dutch. Like they really try to balance their life and their work. I feel is that
I feel
true?
like it's more important now than like I don't know, some years ago. I think also the COVID thing helped with that. Like people are starting to realize that mental health and stuff like that is super important. I would say like, okay, so you're talking about the 9 to 5 kind of working culture. I think it also depends on weather, for example. I mean, so I'm half Greek, and what happens in Greece is that they often, if it's summer, they start super early, and then they have this period like during the afternoon or like, I don't know, from 12 to 3 or something, that everything closes because it's just too hot to function, and they just go home.
Like
or
in
like,
Italy, yeah.
yeah, but I mean, it's in like the more southern countries that they work like that, and then the shops open around 3 or 4, and it's open till, I don't know, 9, let's just say that. And that's also because it's not working there because of the weather, and here we do not really have that. So yeah, 9 to 5 is just practical, I would say. And what I now notice, I think especially during the last year, you see that that's more popular, that people are like prefer to work, for example, 36 hours instead of 40 hours, which is full time,
Yeah.
or like go for the 30-hour work week because they just want to, or realize that they also want to have time for other things. I think that's a positive movement. I mean, I hope that we can actually try to get something
there.
like that, like such a routine. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
So just to wrap everything up, I have a nice question. Hope it's nice.
All right.
If you could give some advice for your 16 years Danny and Danna about getting a job, like what to expect, what to do, do's and don'ts, what will be? And also for the future students that will be looking for a job here.
I would say just go for it. And then I'm especially talking about if you are looking for a job and you see the requirements, yeah, just keep in mind that you do not have to check all the boxes, you know? I mean, that was something I found super challenging, I would say, if I'm like when I was looking for a study-related job. They all are always asking, or like most of the times asking for, I don't know, 3 to 5 years of experience. Yeah, I don't have that. I mean, I'm 23 years old and I do have some experience, but so yeah, of course, it's important that you like check some of the boxes, but it's, I would say most importantly that you are just enthusiastic about the job and willing to go the extra mile and really would like to have it, and just apply and see how it goes. Maybe you're the one they are looking for, and then you do not have to check all the boxes. Yeah, that's what I would
In Brazil, in Brazil we have a phrase, it's like o não você já tem, which means the no you already have. So just go for the yes.
It doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, that was so sweet.
Yeah, the motivational speech, you know, go
and the
college.
next episode we'll have like a sign here. Like, we do not have to check all the
You can also
boxes.
t-shirt with a thing.
Yeah, t-shirt, merch, buy our merch.
Yeah, and what about you, Danna? Same thing? Yeah.
Let me think. I think, in my perspective, I didn't whatever job, yes, I agree with Amy. But first of all, just go for it. And if you don't like it, change it. As simple as that. But also, whatever job you have, you can actually use it, like use the experience to learn something else, not only to earn money, but you can learn from other people that work with you, and you can get curious about how things work in that company or whatever it is you're doing. You can always, it's not only the job, it's not only about
the
doing
work,
your job, it's not only it's not only about the work, but what's the, you need, I feel like you need to just get curious, and you can learn more than the job.
Yeah.
If you can use it wisely.
There's so much more
There's
than a
so
company
much more.
or like
True.
Yeah, and
I agree.
you need to always seek these opportunities to learn more, I feel, actively. And that's one way to grow
Yeah.
as a person.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Even though you have a dishwasher job.
Yeah, so also attitude.
Exactly.
Like your attitude
Yeah.
towards work. Yeah.
Yeah. Just be like positive towards any job you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though people will think it's not a like
Great,
a
yeah.
good job or like repetitive, but I think there's always so much more than that. Mm-hmm.
So true.
So, yeah.
So true. Okay, I think
I
that's
love
it.
it.
It was so
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Like, we also managed to learn a lot.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah.
I love having like both perspectives. Like
That's what we're here for.
I have a question though, like to Demi.
Oh.
If that's okay.
You can ask me.
While working with me,
Oh, yeah.
do you see any culture? Do you feel any culture shock? Like, oh,
ooh, moment of
Yeah, well, shock is a big
no,
word.
well, not you know what I mean, but
I would say
something different.
Yeah,
like,
but
don't that
something-
Dutch people don't do, but I do.
the directness, like the sharing your opinion and being direct. I mean, I'm used to that. So whenever someone was asking me like what I thought of it, like I would just share it, or maybe I would not even wait for someone to ask me. I would just do it. And I've noticed that you always like waited a bit more, and then someone asks you directly, and that even then in the beginning, and now it's already you see the change. But like especially in the beginning, I noticed that took you some like a bit more time before you would actually share your honest opinion on something.
Yeah.
And that's we are so used to do that here in the Netherlands that I totally get that. I think that's like a difference. Yeah.
That's a good observation.
Thank you.
Did you actually hold yourself back?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was new in the company. Well,
Yeah.
everybody's new, but still,
Yeah.
like, I'm also new in the country back then, and it was the first time for me working in a like real company, I guess, in a startup situation when you need to think strategically and like just put your opinions out there.
Yeah.
So I think I get that a lot. Like, actually, I talked about this with the other internationals, that we noticed that Dutch people can't just share their opinion like that. You know, like when in the conversation they just jump in with their opinion.
Yeah.
But for us, I mean, for me, I think, or Asians, or I don't know, like in my culture also,
Me as well, yeah.
we're not like that. We always wait until the right moment, or until somebody
Someone
stop
asks,
talking, and then we jump in and say something.
Yeah.
We're I guess
No,
holding back, or we tend to hold back.
Yes, I noticed that. Like, okay, so it's gonna sound a little funny, but in Brazil, every time we say hi, we also ask, "How are you?" Right? And the answer is always good. Always. Like, "Hey, how are you?" "Oh, I'm good." Always that. We never say the like how we're actually feeling. Even if you're like dead, you will also say, "Hey, I'm good." But then like here it was like so shocking to me, because one of my flatmates is Dutch, and I was like, "Hey, how are you?" And she was like, "I'm so tired." No, like, oh my god, she actually said what she was feeling. You know, like, it was so shocking to me. And she like, and I was like, oh my god, really? Like, it must be really bad if she's telling me that. And then I was like asking, and then, you know, I felt like it was so like honest.
Mhm.
And I feel like Dutch people are very straightforward with how they're
Yeah.
feeling, and it's definitely okay. I also feel like that comes from the feedback culture, because people are so used to saying what they want to say, and like always so used to actually like how they receive that information. You know, like if you tell me, oh, I'm not okay, and then I think like, oh, she's not okay. Why is she not okay? And you know, like in uni, I feel like that happens a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, I don't like I think that you put too much information in this poster, and then people know how to take feedback, you know, because of
Yeah.
that. I think those two things are related. I'm not sure, but
I'm not sure how it goes like in your cultures, but for example, we are quite young when we start with that. So, for example, if you give a presentation or something at your high school or elementary school, everyone has to give, we call it a tip and a top. So you start with something positive, for example, and then you also give like tip feedback, something you can do better, and by that you like as a person you learn how to think of positive feedback but also negative feedback or improvements. And as the one who's giving the presentation or I don't know, submit something, you are getting used to deal with it, and like you get used to the fact that there are improvements or that you can do something better. We start with that, or like already in elementary school and then in high school, and that's how it just goes also into the working culture. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
I don't know how you do that, but yeah.
No, I don't have that.
So if you give a
We don't
presentation
learn-
at, I don't know, elementary school
Well-
or high school, you like
We
your
clap.
class. But are your classmates, for example, allowed to, I don't know, give
no,
feedback?
no.
not for me.
Yeah, that's why I would say we are already so used to it because we start at a very young age.
That's so
Elementary
interesting.
school? That is so cool.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah,
That's why you receive feedback so well, I feel like.
maybe.
And you're so unafraid to say things because you know people will take that earnestly.
And it depends. I mean, it's also some people are
More sensitive.
they think it's way easier to do it compared to other people. But yeah, in general, I would say we start at a very young age with that.
So cool.
Wow, what a great insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Brazil, if a child told me that my poster was like not straight, I would go say,
You're jealous.
"You're just jealous."
You're jealous.
Oh, yeah?
I'm gonna tell your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it here,
Yeah.
I think, and also like I feel like we had that in uni already,
Mhm.
like the tip and top.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, and I was like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
I liked it.
Mhm.
I feel like the feedback was actual feedback, like
Yeah.
not
Constructive
criticism. Yeah,
feedback.
exactly.
And that's also because we start doing that at a young age. You understand how to give feedback in a nice way. So I mean, it's not that you're sugarcoating it or something, but I would never say, for example, oh, it's ugly, because then the person does not know how to improve it. So I would tell the person what he or she could change, for example. So something like, okay, well, the picture is too big, or the quality of the picture is not sharp, or something like that. And then the person knows how to handle it. So yeah, it's like a constructive feedback, I think you call it like that. So that's important, of course. Yeah.
And just make you growing and growing.
Yeah, and improve. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
That
Efficient.
happened a lot.
Efficient, right? It's all about efficiency.
Yeah, that happened a lot inside our working. Like because we work together.
Oh yeah.
Quite a spoiler here. So yeah, we're always giving each other's feedback and receiving and asking for feedback.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I was not used to asking for feedbacks, but now I'm like, I really want to know your opinion to know where I can improve. So yeah, kind of integrating into the Dutch culture.
Oh, beautiful.
Like if you take everything to heart, like, oh my god, they thought it was ugly, then I think you're just not gonna do your job well.
No.
Because you're gonna be so affected by what people are saying. I think it helps building like a harder like shell. What they call it?
Yeah.
Like there's a saying it like that. like a thicker skin.
Yeah, thicker skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you just have to keep in mind that you do not have to be good in everything, and people have different specializations or things they are good at, and that's why it's so beautiful to give each other feedback, because that's how you can grow and learn. I mean, for example, when I was working with Danna, Danna is pretty good at, like, for example, design or stuff like that. And then I made, that's actually
The white
an
paper.
example. I made a white paper, and well, I just did my thing, and then I sent it to Danna, and I was like, okay, can you please just tell me what you would do differently or how I can improve it? And then she gave me her honest opinion, how I could improve it. And I looked at it, and of course, then it's up to me what I want to do with it and if I want to change it. But in this way, you actually learn and grow. And I think it's super helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
So cool. Yeah, because if she wasn't truthful, for example, then it would just remain the way it was, and maybe you wouldn't get that insight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Really nice. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I would like to thank you for being here.
Oh,
for
thank
sharing
you
your
for having
perspectives.
us.
Hope you guys like it.
Yeah.
Hope
enjoyed
we
it.
help with this conversation. And yeah.
See you in the next episode.
Yeah, stay tuned for more topics. And again, just thank you for being here.
It was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, I loved it.
So bye guys. See you next time.